Today, I'm going to introduce you to a gentleman named Rod. He's the owner of Distinctive Art Productions here in Dallas, Texas, and he's been in business for about 30 years. And when Rod is not working out at clients' locations, he works out of his home, which is where we're going. Check it out. Hello, Rod. How are you?
Hey, Curtis. How are you?
Pretty good.
Come on in.
So introduce yourself to us, Rod.
Yes, my name is Rod Marsh. I'm a decorative artist, muralist. I am sole proprietor of Distinctive Art Productions, and I live here in Dallas, Texas.
Okay, well, how long have you been doing this art for a living?
I've been doing this kind of work, doing decorative art and murals for nearly 30 years.
Okay. Well, I know a lot of people, including myself, being a CPA, I've never had a client that was an artist. And I never really looked at an artist as an entrepreneur, but they're just as much of an entrepreneur as anybody else. And that's what pretty much I wanted us to talk about. But first, tell us a little bit about some of the work you've done. I guess you do a little bit of everything, don't you?
Yes. Now, when I first started years ago, I did lots of faux finishes when that was kind of the trend and what was going on. Probably 20% of what I did was actually artwork, but I did lots of faux finishes and wood graining and marbleizing and color washing, things like that. And about 15 years ago, that kind of dried up. Just one day I woke up and went, I had to kind of evaluate what I was doing and the amount of work that the percentages of work, my artwork greatly increased.
Did you go to art school? Tell us a little bit about your training.
Well, when I was 11 or 12 years old, my mother hired a studio artist, and for $5 an hour, I took private lessons. It was actually great fun. On Saturday afternoons, I would go for 2 hours, and he taught me how to paint in acrylics.
Okay, I guess was this at his studio, or did he come to your home?
In the back of his house.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So you've been doing this artwork all this time?
Yes. Well, earlier, like every little boy, drawing Spider-Man comic books and things like that, but never really thinking I was good enough to do studio art or be a graphic novelist or illustrator. So it took me a while to kind of fall in. I actually fell into being a muralist quite on accident. When I went to college, I went into architecture because I didn't really think I was good enough to make a living doing studio art. So I was really good at doing the presentation drawings. So I excelled in that. But then in architecture, the math quickly got over my head. So then I went into landscape architecture, and I did that for 2.5 years in college. And that's where I learned to design and learn to put things together and make sense of just how to design in general. And then I was always taking drawing classes and painting classes because that's what enthused me. That was kind of my drive. I was actually compelled to do artwork. Just didn't think I was good enough to be an artist. So ultimately, I discovered interior design. And so that's why I have a Bachelor of Interior Design and a minor in art. So I was going to school, and I graduated with 172 credit hours. That's when school was affordable. So.
Okay, so when did you realize, hey, I can do this, I'm going to do this for a living, this is my profession?
I tell you what, I went into a showcase home while I was in college, and I saw this lady painting the illusion of tiles on the wall in a bathroom. And I thought, that's the coolest thing I ever seen. It was dimensional, it looked real. I had to touch it, it really looked real. And from then on, I bought books and I taught myself how to do it. From then on, I just kind of figured out, and this is what I'm going to do. So I was doing small jobs, small color washing jobs. That's when faux finishing was a trend. And faux bois or fake wood, marbleizing. The terminology for doing some of this stuff is called trompe-l'oeil. It's to fool the eye. It's a French term. And so I became actually quite good at it. And so just week after week, month after month, doing it and telling other people, hey, can you do this? Yeah, I can do that. And so I go home and figure out how to do it. And so, I've been doing it almost 30 years.
So as far as the different kinds of artwork you do, I know you can do paintings in people's ceilings, bathrooms. You can do canvas art. One of the things that I really love, and I notice it's really a big trend here in Dallas, is the artwork on these buildings. But as far as the different kinds of artwork, I guess, do you do all of that?
Yes. Now, typically the reason I add the moniker decorative artist to what I do as opposed to just muralist, because when I tell somebody, hey, I'm a muralist, they think of automatically graffiti art.
Right.
I'm somebody out there with the spray cans
Right.
painting, and spray paints on the side of a building. Those are graffiti artists. A muralist is actually someone who designs artwork for a specific space. It can be outside, it can be inside, it can be for ceilings, it can be for floors, but you have to take into consideration the substrate, the building, the style, the needs and wants of the client. If it's, I think I mentioned interior or exterior, but yes, I can do anything. Mostly, I design and install art for people.
Right.
Hey, what do you want? Or they tell me, hey, can you do this? I say, absolutely. So I'm a custom artist. I only a couple of years ago started doing artwork for myself.
Well, I know here when I met you, I asked you if you could do a piece for me, and you said, what do you have in mind? And I said, how about something like an old 50s or 60s Texaco gas station late at night, two boys getting there in their bicycle tire with their dog. So you're working on that for me, and at the end of this video, we're going to show you the finished product. But how does someone that's an artist go about getting new clients, new business?
Variety of ways. There is, for me, I have some lead generating services that I use, some to great effect, some only cost me money. Actually, Craigslist has been effective for me. Of course, the word of mouth, but repeat business is huge for me. I have clients that I've done work for 15, 20 years that over the years I've done just keep repeating business because they have me back. So that's most of my business.
Okay, so what if I had a building and I wanted you to do a big mural on the side of that building of a B-17 Flying Fortress, high in the air, in battle, planes are trying to shoot it down. How do you determine what you're going to charge? I guess it depends on how detailed I want. And also, when you do a painting like that, do they power wash the whole side of it and paint it one color and then you do your painting, or do you do all of it? What's the process, and how do you decide how you're going to charge?
Sure. Right out of the gate, though, you're telling me I have in my mind, I'm envisioning the image that you're wanting. I'm kind of
a big range
around in my head.
A big range. I'm
Yeah.
not saying, just what kind of range would we talk about? If someone was watching this video and thinking, I've got this commercial building.
Yeah.
I've always wondered about what something like that would cost. What kind of range would we be talking about? In a single story building, not a big 2-story.
Okay. So the first thing what would determine the cost would be, okay, it's outside. Yes, I have to power wash it first to clean it off.
And you do that yourself?
Yes, sir. I will. Now, if the customer wants to do it, if they have a crew that they'll do all the preliminary stuff, I'm happy to let them do it. But I can also do it. How high it is, like if it's a 1-story building, what you're telling me, I can reach comfortably off of my own scaffolding about 18 feet. Now, if I know it's going to go higher, I'll have to rent like a lift, a commercial lift. So that's going to increase the cost. The size of the mural, if it's just something that's, 10 by 20, or if it's 40 by 50, or, 10 by 50, the size of the building. Basically, in my mind, I think, okay, what's the materials cost? And then how many days am I going to be working on this project? So I usually do it by, in my mind, a daily cost. I like to make so much a day. So in my mind, what you just told me, given those parameters, that's going to be, how big? How big is that?
Let's say a 20 by 60 alongside of a building.
So it's pretty big. And again, the amount of detail, so that could range between 8,000 and 18,000.
Okay, just like I
Yeah.
said, just to
Yeah.
give people an idea. Do you only work really in Dallas, or do you travel all over the country?
No, since it's just me, I'm a one-man show. I have the ability, and it affords me to be able to go anywhere. I've been to Connecticut to work. I've been to New Orleans to work. I've been to North Carolina. I did a hotel there. So yeah, I'll go just about anywhere because it's just me. But most of my work is in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex area.
So if somebody is considering being an artist or doing what you're doing for a living, what are the really big challenges you go through, and how do you overcome those challenges in this profession?
Honestly, because I can base my opinion on what has been the most struggle for me, and it has been, going through school, I wanted to do art. Art compelled me. It's all I wanted to do is do art. How can I make this work? How can I create this? I wish I had taken more time to get a business sense, money and how that works, how that flows. It's as important to learn the financial aspects of a job and what does it mean? How much do you need to make in order to sustain yourself and sustain your business? Now, I've been blessed to do what I do for a living. I love what I do for a living, but it's taken me a long time to kind of understand the worth of what I do. So I think more than anything, learn how to draw and learn how to, I guess, paint. But if you have the opportunity to find somebody that can mentor you somehow, that would also be a huge benefit. So learn business. Even being an artist, you have to learn the business side of it. But find somebody that can mentor you. Find somebody that can help you in those first several years, just kind of figure out the ropes.
What advice would you give yourself when you were first starting out that you know now today, other than having that business sense that you were talking about, as far as the not necessarily the business side, but just being an artist?
That's a really good question.
Would you have maybe specialized in one certain area, or?
No, because I've found, because I like to do, one of the cool things about what I do is every job is unique unto itself. Every job is completely different. Now, I've done, like recently, I painted a lady's back fence. She wanted Van Gogh's irises. She's a Van Gogh enthusiast, and she wanted Van Gogh's purple irises painted on her back fence. And now would I want to paint back fences every day? No, but this is a cool job because I never get to do it.
Especially in Texas when it's summer and 103 degrees.
Yeah, it was okay because it was in the backyard. There's trees covering it, and it was fun. But after I got that job done, then I got to do something else. Every job is unique unto itself. That's even the commission work. You asked me about a job doing art on canvas. That's great fun because each job is. I get wrapped up in each job, so each job is fun. So whether I'm on a scaffolding or on a ladder or sitting in my studio. Now, as far as what would I tell myself? I think take yourself seriously. Art. I try not to be a cliche artist. With having paint on me at all times, but I think take yourself seriously as an artist and your artwork, and the more serious you can take yourself, without being pretentious, of course, but I think the more serious that other people will take you. I think.
Well, I know you said you've been doing this for 30 years, and then during this 30 years, have you ever had anyone just not happy with what you did? And how did you handle that? Surely in 30 years you've had this happen. Or you haven't.
Most of the time, that's another thing I love about what I do. It's made me a better artist. Since I'm doing art for people, I accommodate their likes and what they want to see. It's made me a better artist, frankly, because I'm having to do art for other people. Now there has been, like, I've worked for some decorators throughout the years. Sometimes a decorator we've gotten on cross paths, she expects one thing. There's a client, because it's not just me and a client or me and a decorator. It's a three-way, it's a triad. It's the decorator, it's the client, it's me. So sometimes I'm conversing with the decorator, sometimes I'm conversing, or the designer, with the client. I have gotten in trouble before because I've bypassed the decorator or the designer, and I've gone straight to the client because it seems like, hey, this is going to be in their home. So I want to give them what they want. My mistake. It was a bad mistake, because the designer then informed me, hey, look, there's other elements other than your artwork. There's window treatments, there's furniture coverings, there's carpets, there's other elements in there other than your art. So, yeah, my bad. So I made a mistake there. But for the most part, I'm telling you, because, hey, I tell people, if you don't like it, you don't pay for it. I've never not been paid.
Right.
So,
well, I know, like I said earlier at the beginning of this video, so many people don't realize that just how much an artist really is an entrepreneur. Because you've got customers, clients that you got to please. And I will tell you, I appreciate you taking time to make adjustments to my painting when I asked, hey, would you put an old truck over to the left of that Texaco gas station? And the two boys at night, putting air in their bicycle tire. I said, hey, put a dog sitting there like it's waiting for them. And you were like, sure, no problem.
Yeah.
Now, I don't want to scope creep this thing. And every time I look at it, go, well, add this, because you got to get finished at some point, and your time is money, and you've got other projects to do. But you've been like, no problem. And I appreciate that.
That makes it special to you.
Right.
This artwork is yours. So now every time you see that, it's special. It's unique to you. I mean, it's not just a print. Yeah, it's not just, this is custom artwork specifically made for you. So yeah, every time you look at that, I want it to be special. So that's the cool thing about art.
Right.
Especially about what I do. I can make something, and I can, engineer is not the right word, but I can create it specifically for you. So,
have you ever done a lot of rooms in a home, like it was just like the same theme going from one room to another, or is it all eclectic?
This is great. This is something I've done this past year also. I have an older couple, and they have tended to vacation a lot, and they're getting older, so their opportunities to vacation have become limited. Well, one of the places that they vacationed was the Biltmore estate in North Carolina. Absolutely beautiful. And so they asked me if I could do something relating to the Biltmore. So basically I did reference pictures and photos and books, and I had this slew of images, and I created artwork. Basically, I took architectural elements from the Biltmore and created a mural going up their staircase, going in their entry staircase. So now every time they go up their entry staircase, they're reminded of the times that they spent at the Biltmore. How cool is that?
So when you did this was a surprise to them. They didn't give you direction. You had free creative reign, except they wanted something from the Biltmore.
Yes. Now, I will do preliminary drawings. I'll do a drawing to scale, what it will look like. As you're standing there looking at, because this was going up a staircase. So basically I had to do a drawing up a staircase to scale. And so I drew it first, and I told them, this is the elements that I incorporated. Like at the Biltmore, at the entry, there's a couple of carved lions. I incorporated them. There's some architectural elements. There's some statuary at various places on the property. So I incorporated all that stuff, and it turned out beautiful. And they're thrilled. As a matter of fact, they're so thrilled he had me come back and he had me do some artwork in their living room, in their dining room, and in their master bathroom. I've done artwork throughout their house because he is not only fascinated with the artwork, but he's never experienced anything like this. And they're getting older, and he told me, he goes, I just want my surroundings to be beautiful.
Well, as an artist, entrepreneur, does the work seem to be seasonal? In other words, are you really busy in the summer? And I guess you're not very busy. And you're probably not busy during as we're approaching Christmas and Thanksgiving, I guess. But maybe you are. But is it somewhat seasonal, or is it just kind of even throughout the year?
Seems like it's different year to year.
Okay.
It ebbs and flows. Because sometimes I've been busy through the holidays, and sometimes it's been slow. Because, for one, who wants to have an artist in their home during Christmas time? But
They might be wanting to get ready.
Exactly. But sometimes I'm on a commercial venture. I'll be doing something in a restaurant, or I'll be doing signage in somebody's business, where it doesn't matter for Christmas. So I haven't really noticed too much as far as seasonal. Now, I have limitations on outdoor work, things like that. But
What are the limitations for outdoor work?
if it's raining,
Oh, obviously, but
Yeah.
like I guess you can't paint when it's super cold, right? Or the paint won't.
yes. Now, if it's super cold, no. I
Right.
can't, because it needs to be at least above freezing.
Right.
Because there's preparation issues, and you want to make sure more than anything that the substrate, the surface is of a good quality before you start painting. And
Right.
if it's too cold, things aren't going to be
Right.
sketchy as far as paint adhering to it.
Okay. Well, anything else you'd like to add, Rod?
Uh,
Call Rod. He'll put his number on. Just kidding.
no, other than, hey, thanks for talking to me, and I am just really blessed to do what I love to do and make a living at it.
Right.
I'm not saying it's easy, but I wouldn't give it up. I wouldn't
Right.
give it up for anything.
Well, I can't wait to see that Texaco gas station you're painting for me, which we'll show it at the end of this video. Thanks for coming on, Rod. I
thank
really
you.
appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
I think the biggest takeaway from Rod's story is when he told us about how the first years of his business, everybody was doing marbleizing, fake wood, faux finishes. And then he said it just dried up. And I think it's fantastic how Rod was able to pivot what he was doing, pivot his business, the kinds of art he was doing, to adjust to the changes that people were wanting. And here he is 15 years later, he's still in business. And it's amazing how so many businesses are really thriving, and then all of a sudden something changes. A new technology, people's taste changes. And then before you know it, this thriving business ends up filing bankruptcy. So pay close attention to the industry, to your market, to your customers, and try to stay ahead and pay close attention to make any adjustments so you can have a long-lasting business. Well, I hope this video added value. I'm Curtis Mohlberg, and as I promised, check out the painting Rod did for me. I think you'll be really impressed.